Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Reasonable Contractor podcast. I am your host, Ryan Templin, the Reasonable Tech Dad, and our guest today is a friend of mine who has saved my ass on more than one occasion in my 6 years as a homeowner here in Savage. Jason here has done my water heater, my water softener, a garbage disposal, multiple failed
Toilet.
valves, and saved my ass. The first time I met you was when I tried to cut a pipe on my own and screwed it up, fucked it up, and you had to come save me. It was leaking. So I can vouch for Jason's technical aptitude, and he has been the owner and operator of American Plumbing out of Burnsville, Minnesota for 20 years, yes?
More.
Dude. Well,
Well, started in 71 with my father, but yeah, I've been going out of Burnsville since 99 when he passed away. And so, yeah, always
why
been
don't you,
small.
well, thanks for making the time, man. Why don't you tell us how you got started? What landed you here today? Tell us the story of American Plumbing.
Well, I never thought I'd be a plumber. I'm sure a lot of people say that. Um, I thought I was going to go on to corporate, or actually, I thought I was going to be a dentist. U of
Interesting.
M had a great dentistry program. And, I was going to work with my dad since I was watching Sesame Street. And I wanted something more. And, but then when I graduated high school, I went to work with him for the summer. I was just going to go to Normandale and pick up some credits that I didn't plan for when I was in high school. And, then I was going to go over to the U of M, kind of research that, but I was behind on credits. So I had to go to work. And so I went to work with Pops, and I ended up learning so much and made some money while all my buddies were in debt with student loans, or going to be in debt. And so, yeah, decided to go this course of action. Did my 4-year apprenticeship. Took me 3 times to pass my journeyman test. That
We've
was,
talked about the Journeyman, the plumbing and electrical test on here, dude.
yeah, it's the thing with me is it took me 3 times to pass that thing. And I'm not kidding you. The first time I failed it by 2.2, and I think the second time was 0.08, or vice
Oh,
versa. I'm not
gross.
kidding you. The first two
Gross.
time was like 3% combined, and I walked in there just a little complacent, because I really was ready. And with plumbing, you got to be in the right charts. Everything was sizing with this test. There's 3 sections, and if you screw up the setup, you pretty much screw up the column you're going to be in, which gives you all the answers. And some of those columns overlap, and you might get lucky. But
By and large, if you screw up early, that affects later portions in the test because of the layout.
with the layout, when let's do water sizing, for example. You have your service pressure coming in. You have your elevation. You lose a half a pound per foot of elevation, and you have to. There's 3 different charts. I think it is. It's been a long time. But you figure out which chart you're in, and then for your sizing for a half-inch toilet line, you go off of that chart, and that tells you what size that line should be based on the pressure that you're working with.
Makes sense.
And so if you're not in the right chart, yeah, some of these overlap. You're going to have the same answer, but not all of them.
Not all of them. You're for sure. If you're in the wrong
I was
chart, you're going to miss multiple things, and more than likely.
Well, apparently I was about 0.08% too many. And the thing is, I was literally the first time. I remember the first time pretty well because I'm a young punk. I'm right out of high school, 18 years old, and I was the first one done. And I thought I was a hot shot. And
Swag. Look at the
and there's
fucking
difference.
test. Easy. It's easy.
Oh yeah, but there's like back then there was like an A, B, or C version, because they tell you right at the beginning, don't a third of the people pass it, 2/3 fail. I believe it was 2, maybe 3 tests. I think it was 3. So you got like an A, B, and C. So you just don't have the same test by you. And they basically say, well, don't copy the guy next to you, because he's probably going to fail anyway,
Screw
because
it
only
up.
1/3. But anyway, so we get outside, and that was back when I was a smoker 25 years ago, having the cigarette. And, you start talking to guys as they come out. Hey, what version did you have? Did you have B? Where did you end? What chart were you in? And before I even went in, and I don't remember which one this one. I think it was the first section. I think it went water, waste and vent, and then grades and elevations and miscellaneous roof drains and stuff like that. but it was the very first one. So I got done with that first section thinking I just killed it.
Right.
And I'm talking to this dude who also had B, and I realized my mistake.
Ah.
And it's like, and so I had to go finish it, and I still came pretty close.
Oh, you got
Uh,
to go back in and modify because the
oh no
time
no no
wasn't
no
up.
no 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 no. You can't modify it.
That would
You
make
have
sense,
three.
right? That'd just be easy cheat.
No,
Like,
but no, I have to go do the second two sections. I got one third of the test done.
you didn't do the whole test. I see
Well,
what
no,
you're
you don't.
saying.
You get breaks in between, and so
Got it.
you get whoever's done first gets a longer break, and then you do
Ah,
the second section.
I see what you're
Everybody
saying.
starts at the same time.
Everybody starts those
So
sections
you're
together.
you're
You just
you're comparing notes in between each section,
got it. Okay.
and I knew flat out I screwed up on the first section, and what do you do? You just it's a practice tool at this time now, but I came really close.
Even
And
after that.
yeah, so the deal is you take the three sections, and each section is graded different percentage to the total 100% of the passing grade. It's maybe uh, 60, 20, 20, or whatever it is. Um, but yeah, the combined, if I would have just done a little better, I would have passed that. But I did a similar thing on the second time. It's definitely not so complacent like I was. But nonetheless, I'm a 18-year-old punk because you could only take
You're
the
not.
test every 6 months too. So I just screwed something else up in that case.
Never been
And then
smarter
it's
than
like,
I was at that age. Just that all you had to do was ask me,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah, geez, you can't tell me nothing at that age. How things change.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm humbled on a daily basis.
I'll
Uh,
second that.
but yeah, so anyway, that was a good story. And
How did
I
that
didn't.
turn into Journeyman then? Like, what did you do right at? So you got your Journeyman's license. Were you already with an outfit with your dad? Is that kind of the operation? Was the Journeyman process all with him?
Yeah, I was all on the job training. I never had to do the Dunwoody or DCTC or wherever they do those classes. My son, he works for me now. Miles, he's third generation apprentice, going through the same grind I did.
That's
Uh,
kind of cool.
yeah, it's great. Well, usually it's great. We've been through those talks too.
Yes, we
Uh,
have.
there's a
Story for
learning
another
curve with.
day. Story for another
Yeah,
day.
but it's tough enough to learn as he's turning into a man. I'm the father, I was the protector, and you got to kind of just let them fly a little bit.
That's got to be
But
tough. Balance
and
the
now he's
work.
got to fly with you at work too. So,
No,
but
no break. Yeah, dude, that's got to be tough. The
yeah, it's
balance
cool.
of working those two roles for you as a human, the parent and then the boss. There's areas where I would guess that contradicts.
Oh, it's frustrating. You want to be professional all the time. You want to be a good teacher. You want to be patient, which is something I practice on a daily basis.
Preaching,
Um,
preaching. Amen.
Yeah, so, but anyway, yeah, he's going through my same footsteps that I did. It was a little difficult for me when I got my journeyman before I could get on to my master's. My dad died in a car accident in 11/22/99, and at that time, I just he lived down in Savage and I lived in Minnetonka, and he just moved down there after the bridge was built on 169, and he had planned everything to just start anew there. This is back when we did yellow pages and all that stuff. So he had all that set up by the time he moved. And my first wife was a very wealthy lady gal, I just wasn't working. I go, Dad, I didn't need money. And he knew I was making a horrible decision. So he set me up. He goes, hey, just take over uh, the American Plumbing in Plymouth and Minnetonka and Hopkins and Golden Valley and New Hope. And he was going to focus south of the river where I am now. And and I just was a journeyman, but I was already pulling permits for him because when you're a family member, you can get away with stuff. So I just operated under his license. And I just ran, we called it American Plumbing Northwest. And then he was just the regular one. Uh, yeah, he just ran under him for a little bit, but I did my own gig. So that was really good experience for me. It got me back into the trade because me and that gal didn't work out.
Sure.
um,
99, you said that was?
99, yeah,
Okay.
11/22/99, just 3 days before Thanksgiving that
So
year.
25 years you've been doing the master thing.
Yeah, well, I didn't even have my master's at that time. So my dad was a well-liked guy in the trade. Leon Duda, shout out to him. He called me up after he passed away and said, Jason, if you need any permits pulled, if you need anything, you let me know.
What a guy.
And Ray Sufka Plumbing, actually double shot, Ray, I
Shout them
should
all
have
out.
mentioned him. He actually carried my bond for me for the first year until I got it, so I didn't have to operate under Leon. He actually had American Plumbing, a bond. You can't do that now anymore. You have to, in order to, everybody just selling their licenses to guys that don't have masters. So they changed the rule. Basically, what Ray did for me. So nowadays, if you're going to be the bond holder for a company, you have to be I believe it's a 50% owner there. So unless you want to give up 50%, you're not going to get that loophole anymore. But back then I was able to get away with it. And so, and I studied my butt off. I made sure I got that master's, and I don't think I passed that one the first time either. I don't want to say it took me 3 times, but I'm not kidding you.
Hey,
The older I get, I forget.
it doesn't matter. What matters, you got there, right?
I
Like,
got it. And,
and you weren't gonna let it go, right? You weren't gonna quit.
well, I'm not a quitter. I might not get
Same.
it the first time, but by the time I get it, I got it.
We're gonna make it happen, right?
Yeah. So, but my old man, he always said, this was his word, not mine. He goes, "You get that license, your plumbing license, it's a license to steal." And I would, I would say it differently.
There's
Uh,
better. There's other vocab words we could use there.
well, when you have the big companies, I'm not going to go name any of the big companies, but they advertise. We don't charge overtime. We just charge you the same time all the time. Uh, the thing is, they're never available for overtime, so you just pay overtime all the time during the regular hours.
Huh.
Um, so, but yeah, got off track a little there,
No,
but
totally fine, dude.
um,
So then the master's thing, and I mean, you've been working that for a while. Why don't you tell me? I know a conversation we've had in the past. I asked you about new construction versus remodeling versus service and why you do service and time sensitive type of jobs. Can you tell us how that decision was made, where the business was at, and why, what you noticed, what kind of patterns were happening that you were like, this is where I'm going to isolate my focus a little bit?
it started out with just pure happiness. What do I want to do? When
Glamorous. Good
you're
for you.
sitting on a new house, and I didn't. Granted, early in my career, I probably did 5, maybe 10 new houses in my whole career. Not a fun one. It's a stepping stone. It's when you first get your license. Um, but when you're a business owner trying to just be, aggressive and
Cash
a
flow.
doer, yeah, just work. You
Got
take
to get
whatever you
cash
can.
flow. Yes.
Yeah, just you do what you got to do. You clean those drains. You do Craigslist. I was running ads on Craigslist. But yeah, you get a name out there, and uh, lost my train of thought again. This happens a lot.
It's okay.
Help me out again.
Over time, what were you doing? So you
Oh
had
yeah, what
the
got me there?
Craigslist. What was
Happiness.
going on that
Just
you isolated? Yeah, what you had a happiness route for making that service based decision.
I was more of a remodeler that would fill in service in the gaps. You go do a service call, then you go do a remodel, and you go home and do a service call on the way home.
Okay.
It would take time away from the you don't get nothing done unless you're on a remodel for 8 hours. So you're just jumping around. Hard to get stuff done. Um, but I just didn't like the remodeling. You're depending on other people. Um, Tile guys, he's supposed to be done on Friday. I start on Monday, and I get there and there's no tile.
They're not done yet. I
Well, and
scheduled
it
this.
happened. Oh yeah, and I pay good money for plumbers. Now I'm just me and my son, but I had 3 plumbers going. It costs you money,
Yes.
and no matter how, y- there's nothing worse than a bad contractor. You get rid of them. Time is money, but just really just the kind of work it was, and and then I just wasn't happy doing it, and I was thinking about just getting my if I break a leg, have a fallback. And I was looking into real estate, and it's like, what can I do that's not physically? I could break my back. I got, fortunately, knees are good, but just
That's why
having a
we're
backup
there.
plan.
Yes.
And And then about the same time as that happened, the press printing, we didn't have to use a torch anymore. And I had bought a new tool. I was going through a lot of changes. I was just going to the service, and just by coincidence, I switched over to this press tool, which made my job just so much easier. You don't have to deal with water. You don't have to deal with failed welds. Um, and and all along, I decided to go to the service in the first place because these bigger companies are just gouging you guys. And a lot of you guys listening to this video know that. Um, I'll just say, just for a standard 50-gallon water heater with a permit, supplied, installed, haul away the old, you're going to be about $2,000. With the big guys, you're going to be 3 to 4,000, and there's not many exceptions. You
Is
know,
that,
if
not to cut you off your train of thought,
yeah,
is
no
that where
worries.
your dad talked about license to steal? Is that
Uh,
purely markup because they can?
Yeah, because they can. There's a shortage for plumbers. I mean, that's a whole nother topic too. The young guys, it's starting to make a comeback because the money's there. It's getting a lot of play like
Yes.
this. So it's a great occupation, but there's a shortage, and where there's a supply and demand, you pay, and the big companies know that, and especially plumbing. It's not like, well, heating, it can be like that too, but your AC, you're going to be able to open the windows. But plumbing.
No.
They kinda
Water's
got you over a barrel.
There's nothing you can do. There's
No.
absolutely nothing you can do. Electrical, you can turn off, right?
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I
you
mean,
can
because
you
the
can leave
longer
that
you wait,
breaker
the
off,
more it
right?
costs you. And so
Yeah.
and so they get you, and the way they do it is, if they find out on the phone, you never go with them, but they have secretaries on the phone. They don't quote you any money. They don't quote you nothing. They just say, now I think
We'll
it's
be
about
there.
$99 diagnostic fee. We'll come out, we'll give you a price. And if you go with the price, you don't pay the $99. But if you're in your right mind, you'll pay, well, you won't even pay the $99 and you'll shove them out the door, because you're basically paying for let's use a kitchen faucet, for example. Say you went out and got yourself a Delta kitchen faucet. Nowadays they have the water supplies right on them, unless it's a two handle. And I charge, and I'm kind of in the middle. My minimum right now is $200, and I charge a $45 trip charge. I'm on the cusp of 225, just because I know I can. Because if you were to want a kitchen faucet in, I'm going to tell you it's a minimum. There's no parts. Like I said, the water lines are on there. It's 245. If I raise my rates, it's 270. But I'm still, the big guys, they charge $600 to put in your kitchen faucet. So
So
it's,
you're
it's
treating
just
people well. You're treating people well.
yeah, and I don't want to be like them. Okay, so and I get it. It costs money to run a business. You got workman's comp, you got insurance, we got a new one. We got paid leave now that comes into play January 1st, 26. You got your everything, 401. In order to get plumbers, they can pick and choose. They don't, like I was talking about, the big companies, they don't do overtime. Well, these plumbers, they don't want to do it because they know they don't have to, because there's a shortage. It's like, hey, if you want my expertise, I'm 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But yeah, the big companies, um, I get it. It costs more money, and I'm right now. I like it. I'm 51 years old, and I'm not getting any bigger. You can't get any bigger working in the truck. One of my goals this year is to get a guy in another truck, but still working in the truck. If I wait to start growing the business when I need to, when I'm physically can't do it, it's too late. So this off season, this winter, I've been out of the game on what guys are actually making, what is their yearly, what benefit plans. But you gotta spring for these guys, because if you want good help, you got to pay them good money. And usually that $99, this is what the guys would say at the other business owners. Jason, they'd say, it cost me $75 just to get the guy to the door. So typically, when you get that diagnostic fee, usually that's just going to the basic cost. They're just breaking even past that. But the past that is the problem, because they got a CFO, a CEO, they got treasurer, a lot of mouths to feed in those big companies.
Sure.
Everybody wants their pie, and so a guy like me, I run it out of my house. I got
Look at that.
water
Shop
heaters.
tour. Shop
Uh,
tour. Love this.
I keep the the water heater's stocked, you know.
Shit's on
I,
hand. Got it on hand. It's at the
uh,
shop.
yeah, I got just rows, when it comes to fittings, valves, I mean, everything. I'm on
And
an
now
iPad, but
it's totally fine. It looks good, dude. We can for sure see exactly how you're set up. At least the concept that you have parts available and there's not going to be you get these waits, right? Like, oh yeah, we got to wait for a part for 3 days, etc.
on a common part. On a
Right.
common part, but even besides that, you just waste money sitting at those supply house, sitting at that counter. Right
Yeah.
now, every job, I got a schedule. I got the digital field management tool. I use Field Pulse. That
Yep.
makes it easy for me. Gets all my customers. That's how you get your invoices. You know what I'm using.
Yeah, we talked
Um,
about that software. It's cool. It's good. I
but
looked into it because I was trying to build something like it.
yeah, exactly. And it's $99 per user, and it's just
Yes.
me. My son, he's my apprentice, so he doesn't need his own schedule. But yeah,
That's
I
for a
just
year or for a month or what?
a month.
Month.
Yeah, $99 a month straight. You want to add a plumber like I was talking this year. He gets his own phone. You get just a extra column for your ledger, and he just gets his separate access.
Yep.
So then I can load everything for him. I mean, you can
Same
do the
templates, same
pricing,
invoices,
same
etc.
everything,
And it
and it's
ties to your
really easy to
QuickBooks or
teach.
whatever you use for finance tool.
Yeah, and I got finance. The QuickBooks. I just did that, and they have a platform that's really similar to this. And now I was the guy that was just typing in the ledger at the end of the year, putting all my finance, cost of goods, insurance. Well, now you pay because I didn't want to pay the $40 for the monthly subscription. Now that is money well spent
Yes.
because it just links right with my U.S. bank, and everything I do. There's no entry. It just links, and once you categorize it and make it all the time, it's like Ferguson wholesaler, cost of goods sold. Every time that comes up, it's just automatically categorized, and you get an oddball. You just uh, assign it to a vendor, assign it to a category, and you're done. This is the first time I've done it, so I'm curious how my accountant should like it a lot. I know I'm going to love it because I'm not cramming. I'm literally ready for I'm ready for this is the first year. I'm ready now. I'm just waiting for
On
January
time.
1st. And
Yeah.
I just print the report. And actually they get a I don't even know if I have to go there. They get a different access code. But yeah, anyway, tech is making things easier. Uh,
Speeds things up, like by magnitude, right? Like
oh,
cut all
huge.
that time out and forget a couple of fat fingers or, clerical errors. That shit's a thing of the past.
Yeah, and so I hated the office work. Nobody wants to go work in the field and then go sit and do paperwork. You usually Ray Suff, I shout out to him earlier. He taught me Monday mornings were good morning, and I adopted that. Not a 2 hour window I leave open, but a lot of stuff comes in over the weekend. But that's when you get your paperwork done. You have to set time aside for it, and you don't want to do it at the end of the day. Nobody wants to do that.
Fried, mentally shot,
Um, yeah, it's like going to the gym at the end of the day. No,
low
you do that in the
energy.
morning. Otherwise, it ain't going to happen. Um, but yeah, so with all the stock, with all the tech in the stock, I go through my day. I got 3 jobs. I got these homeware buckets with a rag in there, and okay, laundry faucet, valves for the kitchen, and new valve to the outside, or whatever it is. And you just have them all set up. You pull from what you have here, keep the inventory that I have in the truck, so I don't have to redo it, and just bring it out of the shop. Whatever I don't use, put back in the shop. And yeah, it saves me so much time because you're not waiting for people in front of you at the supply house. Sitting at that counter is you're just throwing away money. So,
Yeah.
and then this way, your purchasing power is better too. So, you know, I'm pretty simple, but I'm learning stuff, and
Yeah, got a
yeah,
system down, dude. A
yeah,
system brings you
a
the peace and
system.
the happiness that you were looking for.
Oh
Systems
yeah.
bring peace. I was just
Oh,
talking about this with the last guy on the pod, Michael Fafinski. Shout out to him because he's a big systems guy, Gutter Galaxy. And we were just talking about how the there's a line to walk, right? You can't be too organized. You can't get too caught up in your systems. You can't be over there counting every piece every time. There's sometimes where things
I
get a
was
little,
at first.
and then you learn where that line I'm talking about is. But if you don't have it at all, that shit costs you. when you're
Yeah.
looking for something you can't find, running out of stuff. And then since you made that service transition, I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't work far from Burnsville. So if something comes up, you don't have a ton of down, like if you got to go get something, you can just go get it.
I can usually go to my house. Otherwise, Ferguson is they're a 13 in Portland, and I'm on Portland and 42. So, and yeah, we don't advertise. We don't do yellow. I mean, guys, their yellow pages are still out there. So guys do that. But how yeah, I stay localized. If you're going to stay small, and I want to stay small, I don't want to be the biggest company in the cities. I want to be Burnsville, Savage, Lakeville, and Apple Valley.
Yes.
Throw a little Egan, Rosemount, and Farmington in there too. Went to Shakopee. Guy moved from Savage to Shakopee, so I put a softener in for him this morning. But yeah, keep it close, keep it simple. The inventory in the shop here is so much easier when you're just doing the service work and you're doing the same things over and over, versus, remodeling. You need some odd things. You need more room for pipe versus I have a little pipe rack there, but my pipe rack is 5 feet long because I'm just doing little cutouts and splicing or, uh, I don't need those 10 footers. So that's
It's
nice.
just
Just
efficient. It's simple. Like
yeah.
we're not doing new things. We're mastering the things that are needed frequently.
Oh yeah, the efficiency is through the roof. Where I would go and work from eight to four, say back in the day. Yeah, I'm up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and I'll prefab a lot of this stuff. All the welding. I got a vise here, and just do because with phones and pictures, you can just they can send me a picture and I can just weld it together and you go there and with that press tool I was telling you, it just zip, 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 you're done. So what would take me 8 hours, and copper is the by far the longest thing to do versus running plastic. Copper would always, you're doing a basement bathroom, it takes you 8 hours, 6 hours of that is going to be running copper.
Because of the
And then
welding.
because of the welding, you got to sand, flux, heat, no water. If you got water coming, that's an issue. and
Bless you.
and then you go, excuse me, thank you. And then you go from that same job to 2 hours.
Do it.
Or, and I'm not even doing the remodel. That was just an example because it was a
Sure.
longer duration. But if you're just cutting out a laundry faucet and you weld the hot and cold pipes coming up, it's just unscrew the bottom legs, cut it, splice it, pinch in your couplings. You're literally done in 10 minutes.
Dude.
So what would take me 8 hours, I'm home at lunch. Um,
Beautiful.
and I do more prepping. There's prep in the morning, but efficiency, it pays, man. The
So
system,
did
like you're saying.
And waking up at 5 in the morning and having some clean work to do with nobody around and nobody up and your phone's not ringing and there's no email. Oh, you want to talk about peace, buddy?
Coffee in hand, looking at the
Yeah.
shelves.
Ah, the
Yeah, it's
quiet
like,
of
are we
5 in the
missing anything?
morning. The quiet of 5 in the morning and some nice patient productivity, dude. You
Yes.
can't appreciate it till a certain age, I feel like.
Oh,
I
still a
don't.
certain age. You nailed it. When did you start being a morning person, or are you there yet?
So at 41, I am going to the gym. I'm hitting Lifetime between 4 and 5 every day for
Okay.
the last 3 weeks. Now, I have been working on the early morning transition for 3 years because I was the bartender, the restaurant guy for 16 years. That was really hard to shake. That was deeply ingrained in my nervous system. When I first moved down to Savage with my children's mother, at 10 o'clock, I would get that happy hour pop. 10 o'clock, I'd be laying watching Netflix. We'd be trying to get ready for bed, and I'm 10 o'clock. We're getting busy. The rail's going to get full. That took a very long time to shake. So I would say I've been trying to go, started going to bed by 10 o'clock, probably 2 years ago. And I've been getting up before 7. The kids force that, obviously. When you got little kids, you're getting up at all hours,
Yeah.
and that's chaos all by itself. Now that they're a little older and sleeping through the night, I would say I was getting up by 6 to 7 for the last 2 years, and now the last 6 months before 6 for sure. Because, man, that you just get so much done, and it's such a peaceful, productive time, dude. Because
Oh
everything's
yeah.
so quiet.
It changed my life. I mean, there's a lot of things as you get older. I mean, we learn. I'm a forever learner. I'll never stop learning.
Same.
But even just as personal, but yeah, the mornings. Um, I wasn't a bartender, but I was at the bar.
Number of
Younger.
lifestyles, decisions that lead you to late morning or late nights and late mornings.
Well, I was happy hour. I'd like to go to happy hour at 4 o'clock when you're done, and you should leave at 6, though. I don't always leave at 6.
Disclaimer, disclaimer.
Well, this is a while ago, but it just made it tough in the mornings, and probably the biggest, when I finally grew up, and it just everything just kind of happened by itself.
It starts to
You get
click.
tired of that
Clicks
lifestyle. Your
with time.
kids, yeah,
Yes.
it took a little longer for me. I ain't gonna lie,
Same. Slow learners. Fuck. Slow
but
learners. But like you said, we don't quit. we
yeah,
don't
oh
we don't
yeah.
quit.
My cousin would always tell me I'm the little engine that could. I just
That's
keep
it,
on
buddy.
chugging, and
Leads to good
yeah, I don't
places.
quit. And yeah, you just keep on grinding. And but yeah, now I got something that I'm really proud of. And my son, hopefully he'll pass the test in first try, not 3 times like me, and
Even if he
take it
doesn't.
over.
First try, from what I hear on the plumber's test, that plumber I told you about that handled a job here recently, Luke, he was on, and he said he got lucky first time, and he actually didn't expect it. He's like, here, cut the check. When the results came, he's like, they probably fucked it up.
Yeah, they're gonna come back at me.
But he had a buddy that said 11 times, dude.
Oh geez. Well, he shouldn't be a plumber then.
I mean, I would tell him to
Sometimes you
not
just gotta
quit,
know when to
right?
quit.
I
Well,
don't know. I would
do you
tell him
want
to
him
keep
working
going.
on your house?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But by
No,
and
you know what?
large,
Honestly, to not throw that guy under the bus, whoever that guy is. There's not good test takers out there, and he
that's
could
what
be
we
a
talked
very
about
good
that day.
plumber.
That's
You
exactly what we talked about that day. Is that a number of people, everybody remembers that from school. There was a guy or a person or girl, whatever, tests just freak people out. The 4-letter word, the pressure of being, that person might be a masterful plumber when they're in their element and moving around and using their hands, but set them down with a piece of paper where they have to perform and there's other people in there doing the same thing and that's not their environment. You know what I mean?
and you got to
And I
know
don't
the
know what
charts
that's
though.
like. I don't know what that's like. So,
Yeah,
because
it's
I've
I
always
mean,
been a good test taker.
well, but just and I maybe I misspoke there because not necessarily a test taker, but just doesn't know the content. But for if he's a service guy, he doesn't need to know the content. If you're in a house and you're replacing a tub and shower faucet, you have half inch coming in and out. The cold coming in the hot. Well, you're going to use half inch. The question is, do you know how to solder? Do you know how to use those skills? But you might
Yes,
not know all the charts for the grades and elevations. 1.14. All these. There's the equations you got to know, and people aren't good at math. Uh, but
I
you
would
don't
agree.
need to, you just need a lot of it. I need to know how to plumb the IDS building in order to pass my test. I'll never do any of that work. Yoke vents, really, all these different things for you got to be able to know it, but you'll never use it. And that's kind of like for these if he's a service guy, or even if he's a remodeler doing residential. You're not getting into that where you get into 1 inch, but you're not getting into 1 1/4 unless you're in apartments or something like that. And you can be a good, service tech, but you got to pass that. You have
You
to
do.
have that license in order to work on your own. And so I'm sure that guy, if he's been doing it for 11 years, darn well he's not working under a journeyman every hour.
Yeah, it was just a
He's
loose
probably
end.
a service tech.
It was a loose in passing story. It was just
Yeah.
interesting to hear the parallels when people talk about the test, and hopefully your kid does pass it. I hope it'll go. I mean, I'm sure it'll go great. It's really cool to hear, the full story arc from you, Jason, and how things came together, and just how different some of the journeys are. But what's cool to hear at the end is that you said you built something you're proud of, dude. Like, good for you. I'm so happy for you. That's so
Still
awesome.
building. I'm not laying down yet.
And you've got third generation. Like, dude, you nailed it. You're winning.
Well,
In
no,
my
no.
opinion, you're winning. Sure. Leave some of that aside, but by and large, like in the context that we're talking about, like you're winning.
I'm
So I
proud of
think
myself. It took work.
good for you, dude. And I think that's a good spot to transition to. Did you want to talk about your water heater idea that we were touching on earlier?
No.
Let's.
I was thinking maybe we'd do a follow-up. We talked
Agreed.
about this. There was, just some of the growing pains if you wanted uh, how to grow, and just different facets of plumbing versus just how you got there. But if you ever want to do a follow-up,
I would
I enjoy
love
it.
that, dude. I would love that, dude. Then let's wrap up with speaking on the full arc and the next generation, dude. I know you talked about it a little bit that there's demand, but speak directly to the young generation that's coming up. Why do they want to get in the trades? Tell them and tell them not just why, but what they're going to need to have as a mindset to make it work for them.
Um, you're gonna have to, well, hold on, let me think about that set.
No, think it. Don't. There's no hurry. Think it
They're
through.
gonna go for the money. I mean, let's do the obvious first.
Sure. That's always a good motivator for a young man.
Money,
What were you like at
security,
18? What motivated you at that time, right?
money.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, let's
yeah,
be
dude.
real. The kids, you
Absolutely.
gotta talk on a level that they want.
Well,
You're
and
gonna make good money out of the gate, and you're not gonna have any student debt. Um, for the guy that's out there trying to get into this business and doesn't know how to do it, I would call companies, just call and ask if they have any apprentice programs. And you don't necessarily have to go to school and pay, it's thousands of dollars for 6 months. It could be a year course, but when it comes to your test, you could go to school for 11 years like that guy, but you can only use it for 6 months of your time towards your 4-year apprenticeship. So you're going to make good money right out of the gate. You're needed. You're going to have security. AI is not going to take your job. um, AI is not going to unplug a toilet. AI is
no,
not going to, repair a pipe, frozen pipe like we had a couple days ago. But yeah, just the security. It's going to take good care of your family, yourself, and yeah, there's not. It's a great occupation.
I
I
agree,
got
dude.
lucky. I yeah,
Could not agree more with everything you said right down the line, dude. Jason, this has been fantastic. Let's wrap it there with a promise to do another one of these do another one of these soon.
sounds good. I'll look
All right.
forward to it.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your night.
You too. Bye bye.